To journey through the Innerverse. It's been only a week, missing a week, but I feel like so much has happened since we were here. I guess, yeah, 2 weeks ago then. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. But how are you, Alexis?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Uh,
Loaded
I
question.
am, I'll just be honest. I am managing the best that I can in all the circumstances we are all experiencing at this moment, whether it's external, like with everyone, or in my own personal, I am managing the best that I can. I had a really rough day yesterday. I just literally sat and did nothing all day because I had zero energy.
Yeah.
I had nothing. And today I'm recovering a bit, but I'm really feeling angry,
Hmm.
a lot of anger, a lot of pent up rage and just anger and frustration and really just recognizing the state of existence that we're in.
Hmm.
I've been really aware of it for a while now, but it's just you think you reach a point where things start to actually happen, right? We've reached a point where things have been revealed and nothing's happening.
Hmm.
And it is, I mean, I'm just so angry. How
Yeah.
are you?
I'm in the same wavelength right now. I think yeah, it's the energy. It's the energy, it's the reality of things. It's like I feel burnt out in some ways, like not with my life or my passion or anything, but just like I don't even know how to put it in words, but I just feel a little burnt out. And, you know, the reason why we weren't here last week is because I ended up getting the flu. So naturally, for parents out there, you know how it goes. Most of the time when your kid comes home sick with whatever, all the kids are passing around, like sometimes I actually do a pretty good job not really catching it, or maybe I get like a super mild version. But this was the flu. This was her first time ever with the flu. I haven't had the flu in like almost 30 years. So, well, yeah, about 25 years or something like that since high school. So like it like really hit me pretty hard. It hit her pretty hard. And I think the hardest part is like having to take care of someone like a child that's sick when you have like no energy. Because I mean, we went pretty much like 3 days without eating, like at the peak of it all. Like it was not fun. And I just wanted to sleep, which is what I did a lot of the times. But yeah, so that's why I wasn't here. So I feel like, I was super, super busy before that. And it was like it all kind of caught up with me. And the flu really kind of like, you know, literally laid my ass down and was like, you're not doing shit. And it was like, with me personally, any kind of like illness or sickness, especially something like the flu or like COVID, it's always like I always have like kind of like a spiritual perspective of it, of course. Like it's like a clearing for me. Um, and I try to take some sort of lesson from it as well. And so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Like I'm slowing down. I like was at a point of like I'm like, how the hell am I keeping my head above water with all the things that have going on? And at the time I was starting to like reprioritize what I commit myself to and stuff like that. But then being sick, like you don't really have a choice. Like shit's gonna wait. And you just gotta prioritize yourself and your health. And so that's what was coming up. So right now I'm starting to get back into the swing of things. And just with everything that's going on, I feel like, it is that energy of like slowing down to catch the wave. And now officially, as we're live on February 18th, like we are in the year of the horse. And so things are about to start moving really fast. And I'm grateful for that. I'm looking forward to it. And so we do want to be able to like remind ourselves or really take time to like slow down ourselves so we can catch up with like the speed of like just the natural flow of things. And so being very discerning with our schedules and what we commit ourselves to, what we like pour our energy into, not saying yes to everything, and yeah, just prioritizing what's most important at this time. And it's going to change. Like, that's the thing I tell myself too, because it's like, like I've had things that I was committed to, and now I'm just like, it's like, absolutely not. Like, I was working for the app, and now I'm kind of like, no, that's not, that's definitely, that's been chopped, cut, that's done. That was on the chopping board first, and that's gone. Um, but anyway, so right now, excuse me, I feel pretty good, but I'm fired up. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to take action. And there's so many things that collectively we've been waiting on. Like, we needed the confirmation. We have the confirmation. And so now I'm looking at our leaders of our communities to really, I'm like, okay, like, what move do we need to make next? So I'm sure that's been coming through the dream space as well. So we're going to talk about that too. Tonight, we're going to talk about this is our dark moon dream reflection, which we reflect on the dream cycle from the previous new moon, which was in Capricorn. Um, I don't have the date, but I think it was January 18th, I believe. Um,
Something like that.
yeah, it was like right before my birthday. So I remember because I was like, yay, it's my moon, because I was born on a dark moon in Capricorn. And so from that new moon to basically this new moon of Aquarius, which was also an eclipse. So we're also in eclipse season too. So we're going to reflect on that. We're going to share how our dream space has been. Feel free to share that in the chat too. We're going to, at the end of our chat, we're going to, as always, pull some oracle cards just to take it with us into this new cycle. Yeah. And so feel free to let us know how your dream space has been, how you're feeling at the moment, and maybe like your hopes, your intentions, your desires for this new lunar cycle.
Yeah, I love what you said. And really, like, I also really want to hone in on that aspect of like things will get better. Things are hard, but the pendulum swings always. The wheel is always turning. So whatever you're feeling, harness it, put action towards it if you can, and know that there's going to be an end to it per se. Like we're going to get over the hump and we're going to have relief and rest at some point. I
Wow.
always try to like see the light at the end of the tunnel because I mean like life is balance of light and dark and good and bad and we're always going to go through it all. So, don't lose hope.
And
Harness your feelings. Put
think
it
of it
towards something.
too, when we have our really low moments, like especially the more you do the inner work, then once you come out of that, you have like really high moments that match that, right? So even though you're experiencing this really like this strong intensity in this lower part of the cycle, you will have like that same, like you'll have a high experience that matches that same intensity. You'll have like a really positive experience with them. Like that's at least what I've experienced and I've noticed with other people. And so that will definitely happen for us collectively.
Absolutely. So, harness your energy and put it towards something productive. Like, let's all come together and do what we need to do to move forward and get shit done, but also hold hope. Do not lose hope because that is the one thing that we all need to move through life. And it's going to get better. It's going to get better. It feels like we're moving through the mud right now, but we'll hit the water soon. It'll be easier soon. It's just trials and tribulations of life, navigating very interesting experiences. I mean, I
Right.
can say that my 30 years of life so far have been I've experienced so much. We all have experienced so much and we always reach the other side. And we go through the shit and then we reach the other side. And we go through the shit, we reach the other side. And it's just figuring out how to move through the shit when it's happening.
Yeah.
So,
So, yeah, here we are. We have a few announcements to share with you guys before we get into the nitty-gritty of like how the dream space has been. So being again that I was sick, I literally had the full-on flu or whatever, like really where it really hit me was like the day of the dream class that I was going to be teaching on what that was like February 8th, right? And so that got postponed to March 15th, and it's still going to be online, of course. It's going to be same time, 2 p.m. Eastern time. And the topic is the sacred art of dream divination. So essentially, I'm going to be walking you through dream incubation, like my technique, what I've learned, um, and also what I've researched too, what I've practiced on my own, what I've researched, and how to like integrate those messages, how to ask the right questions, which I think is the most valuable part of this class. It's the most, that was like one of the things that really landed for me when I was really doing dream incubation, was like formulating how I ask my questions. And of course, you can then build your like nightly routine around that. So that is going to be on March 15th. You will see the link to register in the description of this video. And then also another announcement is that we will now be doing our live YouTube chat, dream chats at 8 p.m. Eastern time instead of 9 p.m. So 1 hour early.
All right, thank you. Yeah, this is going to be a nice adjustment to kind of move back from 9 p.m. to 8 p.m. I think it is going to allow more people to come and see us live. I think it's going to open up a little bit more space for people because I surprisingly, I know a lot of people who are already in bed and going to sleep by 9.
Yeah, people are like 9 p.m. is too late. And I'm thinking, I'm like, it's perfect because, or I thought it was perfect because people would have had dinner, they would have got settled in and, but I guess, and I know some people who are parents, I get it. That was pretty much the main reason why I pushed it up is because it is kind of like bedtime, like at 9 p.m., at least for my child. She goes to bed late. I know some kids that probably go to bed like 7, 8 o'clock. But yeah, so I was like, oh no, that's perfect. That gives time for people to like do whatever they need to do after they get home. But we're gonna try 8 p.m. and see how that goes. And yeah, it should work out for the better, I hope.
I hope so. I mean, I'm optimistic. But anyway, on to our next announcement. So, if you guys don't already know, Urania and I work for a developing app called Dreamigos. This is a wonderful app where you can record your dreams in a variety of different ways, or you can, like keep them private to yourself, or you can put them on our public dream line where you can have the option to get guidance and interpretation from dream experts like Urania and I. I believe there's 7 dream experts on the app right now, and they're all wonderful. We have opportunities like the free dream circles where you can come and have one of the dream experts talk about dreaming in a more educational way, or you can come to the sofa chats, which are a more laid back, relaxed dream circle where it's more of a casual conversation. In fact, we have 2 upcoming. We have the Dream Circle that's going to be run by our dream expert Deb. She's going to be talking about relationships and sex and exes. And this is going to be February 24th at 8 p.m. And then the following week, March 3rd at 8 p.m., we'll have our Sofa Talks. So if you haven't already downloaded the app, you can go over to the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store and download that today. You can do it for free, or you can have the premium option, which is only $5 a month, and you get access to resources and more opportunity to be one-on-one with the dream experts. So join us.
Uh, and you'll also be able to see the registration link for the Dream Circle and the app is or in the description of this video as well. Alrighty, so I think that's the announcements for tonight. And yeah, like let's get into the dream since Capricorn season and this is eclipse season, so definitely look towards your dreams for some intensity, for some more vivid symbolism or emotions and so forth. Like things should just be kind of dialed up, especially if you have a moon in Aquarius, such as Alexis, or you have moon in I would say Pisces because of all the energy in Pisces, but then also the next eclipse is going to be um in Virgo. And so there's going to be a full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo.
Ooh,
Yeah. So
ready for
if you
that.
have Virgo, yeah, that's going to be a really, at least like the Pisces and the Virgo full moons, this is it for the year. So I
Yeah.
feel like with the Virgo lunar eclipse that's happening in a couple weeks, that is going to kind of bring the full illumination in reference to the eclipses between Pisces and Virgo that has been happening for the past like year and a half.
Mhm.
So that'll bring some epic moment with that, like some probably some reveal, some illumination that can really help you to kind of bring something either to fruition or manifestation or bring something finally to a close, depending on, you know, what where Virgo is in your chart, what you have going on there. And then with the Pisces full moon, or yeah, that's actually going to be a full moon eclipse too, um, which is going to be in 6 months from now. That will be bringing this, that will be the same kind of energy, but more so specific to the Pisces part of your chart. Um, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I have a good feeling about the Virgo full moon. I really do. Especially because how I feel like the Aquarius new moon was really, really intense, at least for me. Um and
Yeah.
drained my battery completely. And like it's just I have a feeling that the Virgo full moon is gonna kind of recharge me personally.
Yeah, I felt with this Aquarius new moon actually like it didn't really feel, and this is something I want to, now I'm thinking about, I want to reflect on more for myself, but it wasn't really like, it felt like a clearing for me. It wasn't really dramatic. Like everything that happened leading up to it was really dramatic, like getting sick, like all the busyness that I felt, that was really intense. But then like the day of the Aquarius new moon, it was like everything kind of like just kind of clicked into place. Which was
Hmm.
like, yeah, that was literally yesterday. And
Yeah.
it was just like I woke up feeling a little bit more like myself because I've been sick. Then my daughter and I had like a really good time together. We went to the library and we just
Oh.
had some good time outside of the house. Um, and even like the day before, it was like nice and like sunny and like good, like the temperature was good. So I felt like just maybe it was like being in my element, maybe
I'm sure.
that it wasn't like I just felt that optimism of Aquarius. It wasn't crazy for me. Um, so we'll see how that the Virgo eclipse goes because I mean, I got to see anyways, that's something for personal. I'm like, I got to see the degree where it's at because we both have our midheaven, our MC in Virgo. So
Yep. And
yeah.
you know, it's so funny that you say that because I feel like I had the same thing where like the whole week before the new moon eclipse, it was dramatic. I mean, my husband had his like a face surgery essentially,
Mhm.
and I was caretaking for him for the whole week. And he had opted to not have the medication to help with the pain, so he was only doing Tylenol, and it wasn't really helping. And it was just,
Yeah.
it was a lot. I mean, our sleep has been such shit for like the last 10 days,
Hmm.
and he's on the other side of healing now. Like he's fine, he's not in pain, he can breathe. He was talking about how like before he felt like he was always having like quick shallow breaths, and now he
Yeah.
actually feels like he's having
Wow.
like, and it's helping with his heart rate because when you're breathing in quick
Oh yeah.
rapid breathing, it raises your heart rate. So
Mhm.
like he's really feeling more
Oof, good for him.
accustomed to this new way of existing, which I've never had an issue with, really. Like my allergies would kick up and that would be a pain in the ass. But if I'm being totally honest, like knock on wood, my everything is fairly healthy. So just the intensity of caretaking and like the exhaustion of it, because again, neither of us were really getting any sleep. You know, I wasn't in pain, but I wasn't sleeping either. So it was like every day I was kind of like crawling through the day to get me to the night where like I'd be up all night. So it was just like so much. And Monday I felt a rise, like an up. It felt like a good day. And then
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, after the moon aspect, I just had nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, that being said, I'm glad that this has passed. And I am feel like on I've had a lot of things happen. I've also had things click into place. I've had things come to fruition. I'm feeling a power in myself that I didn't feel before as strongly as I do right now. And that I think is going to prep me personally for what's to come with everything. So it's not like all, you know, it's not like it was bad. It was
Yeah.
just challenging.
Yeah. I feel like what I've noticed too with a lot of people, it was like leading up to the eclipse was
Mm-hmm.
like really intense. And like as far as the Aquarius and the Leo part of our charts, this is going to be ongoing, not saying what you're experiencing now, but basically like that focus, that activation, the clearing, and like the accelerated change and deep transformation. That's all going to be under ongoing for the next year to year and a half.
Yeah.
And so that's just something to be aware of. So those parts of your chart are going to be really important, like the areas of life they represent. And if you have any planets there, especially like your big three, that's going to be something to take note of. Um, and so my dream space has been really like it's interesting, like being sick. Again, I feel like it was like spiritually or energetically, it was definitely a major clearing. Like I feel like as my body was like geared up to and like did like fight, the virus, like overtake the virus and that whole process. And like even having the fever, right, which will like is just cooking everything inside to like really kill it, basically.
Yeah.
Um, and so a lot of and I hope this is like definitely true, but I feel like a lot of like even like my stomach issues, I haven't felt that. And also, even though today I told Alexis I did overeat. Like now I actually feel fine. Like it probably just had to pass on through. But it's like even with my sleep, it's a little bit different where it's like not as like stressed and anxious. And I'm in that part of my cycle that this is like prime time, but I don't know what it is. Like it's like something's different. And like Alexis and I were talking about, because she was asking me, when you're sick, like you do have really weird dreams. And so I definitely was having some weird dreams. I was having a lot of profound dreams. I would say like the main themes of my dreams, like my grandmother was in a lot of my dreams, and I was having dreams again involving cars. And then also another major theme was a baby. Like I've had, and this has happened in the past, but there's been specifically either a baby or just like my son. I don't have a son in waking life. So, but it's kind of like, what does it represent? And sometimes the son is older than my daughter, sometimes he's younger. So Alexis and I have debated on what that could mean. But if it's okay, I want to go ahead and share the dream I'm going to share tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, this is just a little bit that I wrote to Alexis that I remember. And it's really interesting. So a couple weeks ago, we did a chat on flying and falling in dreams. And so a couple weeks later, literally, I believe this was last week, I had a flying dream. Well, actually, I didn't really fly. I was trying to fly. So I was lucid. I gained full lucidity in the dream and tried to fly away from a scene that was boring me. I felt trapped in the scene and that it wasn't moving forward. Anyway, when I tried to fly, I didn't, but instead, some interesting, what seemed to be portals came into view. There were at least three. I didn't go in any of them, but the environment of the scene changed. The energy I remember changed for the opposite, as was like, okay, so let me say this again. So, like, the environment of the scene changed. And then I realized the energy also of the dream. It was like, even though my intention was flying and freedom and like escaping to some degree of the scene because it was just so boring, um, like the dream took the opposite approach where I remember like it wasn't scary or stressful, it was just really weird where like it felt like maybe like the ceiling or the threshold of like, you know, whatever would be the sky or the ceiling, because I was outside. It seemed like that was kind of closing in on me because I remember at some point I had to like kind of crouch down like that, even though it wasn't touching me, it was just the way the energy felt. And then like the ground became like more concrete, and it was just like I think about, I don't know how to explain it, but it was like also while
Ooh.
all of that was happening, right, and things started to feel, it was almost like I'm like envisioning like a scene where you have like, it was almost like very geometric where like you're in this like clean concrete room, like almost like an art exhibit where there's like a cube and like, you know, like a cylinder, but they're like these like concrete type shapes. It was like that vibe. Like I was like in this geometric like
Ooh.
space, because I'm also thinking a part of the ground was like the black and white marble, like not marble, but square floors.
Right.
And then, but I remember in front of me, or just like from my perspective, I looked and there were like on the floor, like tiles, like if you think about like Wheel of Fortune, like when they turn over and you see the letters. So there were like
Mm-hmm.
how it was turning over the letters one by one, and it was like writing a sentence, right? And it was writing something like it was a message. And I was trying, like I was reading it in the dream. And in the dream, I remember I was like, oh my God, I got to remember. And I was like so focused and like just so passionate about remembering it. I didn't remember it. Um, like immediately in the dream, immediately after like reading it, I didn't remember it because I was like, I can't forget this. Because I knew it would probably be important to waking life. So I was like trying to so let's see where I left off. That could have been, yeah. So it was like the words would reveal themselves, but then they would flip over, like as soon as the sentence is done, and then they would flip over. So it was very quick. Um, it's funny. I'm like, oh, there's more I'll share on Dark Moon Dream Reflections, and I don't remember. So basically, that's kind of it. But it was interesting. It definitely speaks to like I'm just like I am kind of bored. Like it's because I had this vision of where I want to go, like where my life is headed, and I feel limited by circumstance right now, whether it be
Yeah.
resources or like my current environment. Like it's like I feel limited and I'm lost. Like, and this is something that literally came up today. I'm lost on how to like, what's the next step? Like, I'm ready to go. I'm feeling this fire horse energy. Okay. Like,
Yeah.
what now?
That's so interesting. There's a couple things that I find really interesting about this. I mean, the first thing being that, like, okay, the message coming through but not being able to be grasped is so interesting because the dream itself was trying to make it difficult for you to begin with. And then there's this like passion to save it, and it just is going away. And I love that that correlates with like the Wheel of Fortune, the game show, but also
Uh,
it feels like it correlates with the Wheel of Fortune, the card,
yeah.
and how like what goes up must come down and vice versa. And it's almost like in time this is going to be revealed to you, but right now you're only getting hints of it, you're only getting tastes of it, and you're in a purgatory state. And
Mhm.
it's almost like you have all this passion, you're ready to go, but what you want isn't in your grasp at the moment. So where can you put that passion in the meantime?
Yeah.
What can you do with that energy as of now?
Perfectly said.
it,
And
it's it's so powerful.
the reading that I did, it's crazy that the eclipse was literally yesterday, right? The 17th.
Yeah.
It like again, it's like funny how it's like it feels like things are moving slow, but even thinking about that, I'm like, wait a minute, it feels like I don't know why that feels like it was a week ago. But anyway, I did a tarot reading last night, a tarot reading, and the central card there, I got two, even though I usually get one. The central card was the Knight of Pentacles, the slowest fucking horse in the deck.
Oh
The deck.
my
And then
goodness.
I got the Six of Cups, which I felt like that to me, like that Six of Cups feels like my passion and that offering and just giving from like an overfilling cup and all of that. Like, so that emotion and that connection that I'm really craving, but then coupled with the Knight of Pentacles, where it's like discipline, patience, perseverance. And I'm like, dude, that's my life. I get it. Like, can we go? Like, so it's and it's like
Wow.
I feel like it's one of those things once I like really let it go, then things will start moving. So I feel like I'm creating, like I'm holding on to it so tight, like the message where I'm just like, I can't forget this. I can't forget this. I'm so focused on like not forgetting it that I don't remember anything. And I had like a similar experience in my dream space this morning, with another dream that came through. And I was like, oh my God, this is so important. This is so important. And then like I didn't record it when I woke up, and I was like, I'm definitely going to remember this. And then I had another dream, and it's like, that's gone, even though it's still there, but and so I think that in some ways, I think mentally, maybe I'm moving really, really fast and I need to slow down.
Yeah, or put that energy towards something
Yeah.
constructive and productive for yourself. Like, maybe start writing more. Writing more, like journaling more about these feelings. Maybe, work in your sketchbook and do more sacred geometry. Maybe do more
Yeah.
active stuff, like outside if you can, like if the weather permits, getting outside and moving your body and moving around, because it really feels like you have this like energy that's just going 1,000 miles an hour inside of your brain and your body,
Yeah.
and it just needs to go, especially coming out of being sick when all you were able to do was rest.
Right. Yeah. And I felt like it did. And I know this isn't true, but just, my humanity, it feels like I'm like, oh, I had such a nice momentum, even though I was like, again, how am I keeping my head above water? I was in the midst of slowing down a little bit, but then I got sick and I had no choice. And then I feel like I'm behind because it's like, oh, well, so people were used to seeing me doing this and doing that. And I was having all these readings and I was doing this. And I couldn't even go to my improv meeting because like I wasn't feeling like adequate enough as far as like my voice and stuff. And so it was like so many things that I had a lot of energy and passion towards. Not that they're gone, but I just haven't been able to tap into that. And so there is a restlessness. So yeah, that's kind of been that. I mean, that has been my dream space and just the energy for me the past like, lunar cycle.
It makes a lot of sense, especially being in a purgatory state, because it's not like you're in purgatory with your circumstances. It's like your circumstances are causing purgatory, but you're ready to move. And like that just kind of makes the whole thing feel more infuriating, more frustrating, more
I'm like,
like,
now I feel like I'm waiting on the universe. I'm like, look, intentions are there. I feel like I've been doing the work. I feel
yeah,
like I'm being a brat, but I'm like, soon as you open the door, like, but it's funny because in the dream there was the portal and I didn't go, there were three portals and I didn't go through them. So that was really interesting too, where it's like, okay, well, am I like, my mind goes to like, okay, am I, in some ways, I do feel like I'm keeping myself limited. I know that I am in some way, and it could just be the control aspect of like wanting to go full force or whatever, or just being impatient with divine timing. And so, and again, it's like as soon as I shift my focus and like you said, just start to like channel the energy, the passion that I have into like something, then I won't be thinking about it and it'll just naturally unfold.
yeah.
That's what it
It's
feels.
it's an interesting lesson to take on. It really is, because it's one thing when you're in a period of rest and you don't have the energy to put it anywhere. Like it's easy, like okay, you may want to do other things, but you have to rest because you're tired or you're sick or you're not feeling good. But when you are ready to go and the world isn't ready for you to go yet, it feels just like so much inside.
Yeah. Hmm.
But
So many things here. So many avenues, so many things coming to mind. But anyways, how was your dream space? What do you have to share?
this cycle was very interesting. It was I would say my themes for this cycle would be definitely hard to grasp, and shadow work for sure. And like I may not have like I didn't really have a whole lot of dreams this cycle, like that I could remember in full, just kind of like bits and pieces here and there. And it was really frustrating, but I haven't really been sleeping, and I've been so occupied with, caretaking and whatnot, that I just like haven't had the ability to lock into my dream space. But not last night, but the night before, the night going into the new moon and the eclipse, I did have a dream, and it was like that yesterday. I probably slept from like 5 a.m. to 2 p.m. That was my night. Like that was my night.
Mm-hmm.
So the new moon eclipse happened like within my sleep space. But so this dream was interesting. I was at my friend's house, and this is an old house of hers. And it's really interesting because um her house was red, and it was marked like the address was 666. And like there was all these jokes about it, and on top of that, it was about 20 feet from the train tracks. So
Wait,
like there
waking
was
life? Like, is this?
in the
Oh,
waking life, this is,
okay.
she doesn't live there anymore, she's moved, her
Okay.
family moved, but this is what I grew up with, going over all the
Okay.
time.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of energy there, especially with the train track right outside of like right by the wall. Like there was a lot of energy. It
Yeah.
felt busy all the time, even if there was like nothing going on. So in my dream, I was on the front porch of her house, and the front porch was just kind of like a cement like square. It wasn't like anything crazy. And I was standing there, and there was this white void in the sky, and there was people everywhere, and it was noisy, and there was a lot of things happening. And there was this lava like material all over the ground, seeping out from the ground all over. And there was this person who was standing on a clear path in front of me, who was like my husband, but wasn't my husband. And they kept kind of like conjuring me to come with them, to jump and to make it to where they are so they could lead me to the next place. And I didn't want to. And I remember I didn't really want to. And I could see that this thing, this being that was dressed up as my husband, was shape shifting its form little by little. So like, more of its actual self was being shown. And finally, I did. I jumped to them and I made it. And we got into this vehicle and we drove down the street. And as we're in the vehicle, less and less of that mask of my husband was showing, and more of this being was coming through. But the being was like blurry. Like there wasn't any like identifying like features.
Hmm.
And the vehicle was like an SUV. I remember it was set up like a UK vehicle, because the wheel was on the opposite side of the
Oh,
vehicle.
okay. Yeah. First, I was like, wait.
And it was this old SUV, and it was dirty on the inside, and like it felt very grimy and dirty and used like to oblivion. And he, she, they, whatever this thing was, drove us down the street to this house. And we got to the house and we walked into the door that was like the door to the basement from the outside. And we walked in, and it was immediately a shift of energy. The whole time the energy was weird, but when we went down into this space, it felt very like uncomfortable, nerve-wracking. That it very, very odd. Like something was off. And I had been putting my hand in my pocket, and I could feel this like key. And I was in this basement, and this guy, this like maybe 50, 60-year-old man who was heavier, wearing like a casual nice outfit. So like a a shirt and tie with suspenders, and like khaki pants and nice shoes, but like a cardigan over top. And he was very like, I don't know, like casual formal looking, almost like what you would expect like an old professor to look like. but there was a weird energy off of him. And I remember this being that was dressed up as George went with him to like a back room, and I was in this space and I was just taking in this space. And it smelled smoky and old, and it was like damp and cold. And that I remember that the floors were this green but very dusty, dirty carpet, and there was wood panels all over, like dark wood panels, and the ceiling was kind of low, and there was this like leather couch on the side, and you could see out like where I was standing, and there was a door to a backyard, and like everything was just kind of weird and also pulsating. And I
Wow.
had just been fidgeting with this key, and finally they came out and we left and we got in the car, and this key that I had in my pocket was gone. And the being was asking me about it, and I didn't know where it was, and I was trying to explain that I didn't have it with me anymore, and I don't understand how I lost it. Like I just had it, and it was just
Hmm.
this weird, it was just this weird interaction, and then I woke up.
Interesting.
And that's the dream that I had the morning of the eclipse new moon, and it was just really really odd. I haven't even really sat with it too much to dive deep into it. Like, but it was weird. Like I wasn't scared. Like even like through it all there was a calmness to the way I was moving through it, but it was weird and unnerving in other ways too, and just like I don't know.
Yeah, I like there's so many things that kind of come to mind when with you sharing that. Like, firstly, with the bringing up the railroad crossing, was the railroad crossing in the dream, or just
Oh
like the
yeah.
because okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
the railroad track was exactly where it is in real life.
yeah, in the dream.
Where
Yeah,
like it's her house, and then the railroad track is next to it, and the crossing is the main road. So it's the railroad track and then the main road.
that's so wow. That like to live there. That's wow. I'm so sensitive to those type of things. Like there's gotta there I mean, and I feel like, railroad crossings, there's a lot, like it is like it's a threshold, of course.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of coming and goings like energetically. And so what came to mind is that like the whole dream felt like you were in maybe like a past life or like some other timeline. And it's more specific to George. I feel like you were journeying with him, especially because again, what you just journeyed with together, and even like this surgery that he's had, what is like a clear threshold for him. Like it's literally a whole new life. And
Mm-hmm.
so you guys have had that journey together before he had the surgery and then after. And so there's like a clear, like, we journeyed here together and now we're journeying here together. And I feel like the dream was a travel or a visitation of another timeline that may have some aspect of kind of where he is at this moment, maybe where he's coming from, like what he's like, um, especially like, okay, so thinking about the vehicle, like the vehicle as far as like the body, the journey, like
Mm-hmm.
how you're traveling, it's beat up, it's old, like it feels like again, like, okay, we really gotten like good use from this particular vehicle, right? And like I feel like whenever people have spirit or like surgery or just any kind of like procedure, especially like when they're under like an anesthesia, was he under probably anesthesia, right? I'm assuming
No.
he didn't. Oh wow.
No. But I do want to,
Yeah.
I don't know if I made this clear before, but the being that was in my dream, it wasn't George.
Right. Yeah.
It
You said
it
it was
was
like it,
very, it was something else, and it felt like it was wearing a cloak,
yeah.
like to lure me in, like
So
to
like
make
you
me feel
were
safe,
impersonating like George initially to get your like for you to like
like trust.
connect. Yeah, trust and connect.
Yeah.
Okay. So you don't
Yeah.
feel like after that, like there was no connection?
No, it never felt like a connection to George. It never
Okay.
felt like George. It was just like a facade. And like you could see through the dream, the more like the further along I went with them, the more that it dropped off. I
Interesting.
don't recognize the energy that was in my dream.
Oh, okay. Well, that definitely.
I'm not familiar with what it was. I don't know who it was or like it was very that's why it felt so weird because
Hmm.
you know like you know how when you have a visitor in your dream and there's this thing that they do where they're trying to kind of like act human but you know that they're not and they're like either smiling too much or things just aren't feeling
Yeah.
organic. That's what this felt like.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm.
again, like
Okay, that takes on a different meaning than where I was going.
when the shell was like breaking apart,
Yeah.
like it wasn't like but it was like falling off. The being itself was blurry
Right. I
and it
see
didn't
it.
show its true self. It was a very like that's why when I say like I haven't sat with this yet
Yeah.
because it's so weird. And I
Mm.
mean, of course, it's Aquarius new moon with an eclipse. So like I understand why
And
it
you have
was.
your moon is in Aquarius, so
Yep,
that's like, yeah, I feel like I do feel still like you kind of traveled, um,
I think
which
so.
you do very often in your dreams. Um, but yeah, that's really interesting because I don't know why I get this like early 1900 type vibe from it. I don't know, like
Yeah,
I don't.
it's
It,
a really
yeah.
weird energy. It was a really, really weird energy. It felt a little timeless.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were in a car, but that didn't really necessarily make a time
Yeah.
period for it.
Yeah.
Like
Interesting.
there were people around, but you couldn't really see them. You could just kind of hear them. You could feel them, but you couldn't see them. There was a lot of energy that wasn't attached to anything. It was so bizarre.
Interesting. And like, was he communicating anything with you, like when you were, so it was just like you were kind of journeying with him, but like to where,
Everything was telecommunication in
Mhm.
regards to like telepathy. So like and it wasn't even like come here. It was like I just knew that he wanted me to jump over to him and get in the car and go. There was
Mm-hmm.
no communication between the two men that I could hear or
Mm-hmm.
whatever they are. There was no communication with me that was verbal. I just had an understanding. Like in the car afterwards, there was anger and over me not having this key that was really important and like no understanding of how this thing that I had just been holding on to in my pocket and didn't take out of my pocket was gone. And like it was so
Yeah,
I
I'm like,
really need to sit on this.
yeah, you definitely do. And let me know what comes through because, and like maybe update us here on the podcast because like I was having one direction and that's definitely not the direction of like the energy of the dream. And so I'm really curious. Like, this is definitely, like when I think about it too, it could be a representation of just like when I think about the key, there's like, unlocking something or maybe, yeah, just like a door opening an opportunity. And it could be a reflection of your own feelings around like your dream space, how it's been this month, where it's
Right?
like, oh, you haven't had time to sit with it, or like you haven't really been remembering your dreams a lot because just like all your energy is poured into everything external. And so it's like, it's hard to like, your sleep is like primarily restorative sleep, which can be frustrating. And so that can bring something forth too, where it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm not, let me get Wednesdays at the door. But it's like
I
I'm
can hear.
uh like being able to, by not remembering my dreams, I feel closed off to these opportunities for my own growth, for my own healing, or just,
Yeah.
whatever the messages are here for me right now. I feel like closed off to them for that. So it could be kind of like that on some level.
I definitely am seeing an interplay of these complications in the way that I'm moving through my experiences and my psyche and what I need to do and how to do it. And, keys have been a huge part of like a huge piece of symbolism in my life lately. And even like one of my newest paintings, the main image, the image that's in the forefront in the center is a key. So I do feel as though that has a lot to do with like the messages coming through, and I
Yeah.
really need to sit and just kind of ask myself and look deeper into what keys represent to me and how I can use this symbol to move forward. But in regards to like this energy kind of bringing me with them on this journey, and it was just very, very odd. And
Yeah.
I don't know, it definitely felt like, you watch shows like, Stranger Things, where they have the upside down, or Risk Cutters, a love story, where you have that like in between purgatory where like everything's kind of the same but a little worse. And these worlds that kind of mimic the reality we are living in, but they're not quite that. And this is what it felt like. It felt like I was somewhere else. And I really need to sit and think on that, because
Yeah.
it was weird.
Yeah. It does sound like, yeah, it's a weird place for sure. Like in the in between too.
Yeah, that's exactly what it felt like.
Wow. So we'll see how this lunar cycle does us, being that it's eclipse season, what kind of transformation we have at the end of this, specifically with our dream space, because Alexis and I, like for the past couple cycles, there's been a lot going on, with the holidays and all of that. And it's been difficult. This has been like a really interesting winter season. There hasn't been one like this for as long as I remember, on so many levels.
Yeah.
And so I feel like with the stillness, with the cold, with the quiet, there's been a lot, like just in restoration and just not, yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how to put it into words, but yeah.
You
So,
know, just real quick before we go on to sharing our oracle cards, I was thinking about this dream while like I'm explaining this dream, and immediately after I had a dream memory of another dream come through, and it was one that I had years and years and years ago now. Like, I mean, maybe in high school or just out of high school, where I was walking in this warehouse of houses. Like, it was a warehouse where everybody was kind of living, because that was what was available in this dream space. And I remember walking through a portal in the wall to this deserty area, and walking
mhm,
down this like path and coming across this seemingly important spiritual figure, and he offered for me to sit down and have tea with him, and we had a conversation. And I just think it's really interesting that while I'm thinking about the dream I had a couple nights ago, this dream immediately comes back up to my memory. And I have been doing this a lot lately, where I've been noticing that there are instances in my life that trigger a dream memory,
mm,
or dreams that trigger dream memories. And now I feel like I need to sit down and see how that might
yeah,
correlate, because it feels like layers. It feels like layers upon layers upon layers upon layers
yeah,
of things. And, I think being in this place right now where we're really picking up on being aware of so many different things,
mhm,
I wanted to speak this out loud, because I haven't been saying it in my own space and time. And I don't think I've really been talking to you about it on our own. This
mhm,
like aspect of dream memories coming up being triggered by certain things and what that might mean, like why that might be happening. You know, it's like when you remember, like you're just hanging out and all of a sudden you just start singing a random song maybe you haven't heard in years. Like why are you singing that? Why did that come to your mind? What is this? What are the connections? And I'm
Right.
sure some people are like, it's not that deep. But like what if it is that deep?
Yeah, and I think like there are no coincidences, and it to me, like one, it feels like you're integrating it all. I mean, it's almost like kind of like the deja vu moments where, but you have a clear, you're like, no, this is from a dream, this is from that, you know,
Yeah.
so on and so forth. And it feels like integration, like everything is starting to like you're witnessing things clicking into place, things coming together, things being connected, and like the deeper layers of it. And it's like, this is really making me think about, recently I've been listening to an audiobook called Legacy from the Stars. I think I mentioned on here before, but it's based is Dolores Cannon, her work, which she, for those of you who don't know, she's a past life regressionist. She takes her clients to the deepest level of trance, getting completely their conscious mind completely out of the picture and speaking directly to the subconscious. And generally, the people that come to her are seeking healing. You know, they might have health things going on or certain like blocks and limitations, like we all have, and they've tried so many things, and like they want to do this. Um, and it's so interesting that like I just was listening to like the one case that she had, the one client she had. They were having stomach issues and they kept like being almost close to completing, like say they were in college and they were trying to complete like their degree, and like whenever they try to complete something, their health would basically kind of sabotage it all, and they could never really finish the final thing that they need to do to like have that success of like just the completion. And when she got to that point with the subconscious having the conversation, it was like the subconscious is like, we've literally been telling him what to do, like as far as like, and also they mentioned like we've been sending the messages, and also this particular individual has like completely pushed that like quiet voice out, like that subconscious voice out, and they specifically focus on the logical, rational side of things, like the intelligence and wanting to really understand that versus like listening to, the subconscious, which can probably come out as intuition or
Mm-hmm.
certain feelings and so forth. And what it came down to for this person was something as like he was having severe like stomach issues where he couldn't really like sometimes when eats like he couldn't keep it down and everything. And it really came through his relationship with his mother, where he was like, the mom when he was little was literally like, you make me sick to my stomach, and like saying stuff like that to him, where he took that on physically, and now he's like often sick to his stomach. And then there was so like the subconscious has been like guiding him to like, hey, like you need to have boundaries with your mother, like you need to communicate this, and that's even the subconscious, like that's not going to 100% clear it, but that's the message we've been giving you, but you haven't, like he hasn't been listening. And it was funny because like the Dolores Cannon was guiding the subconscious or communicating, where it's like, okay, well, can you also like help him, because we want him to be healthy? Can you work with him like to help, like shift the perspective or whatever you can do? And so it was funny, the subconscious was like, yes, like at this point, like the pain is going to lessen, or as far as like, this is already turning around, just having this conversation. But it's like, again, the point of me bringing this up is like, we're receiving the messages. Just like I was having this conversation with someone earlier today of my frustration with like, I want to be doing all the things. What am I missing? It's like, I'm so caught up in what am I missing that I'm missing it. Like I'm moving faster than I need to slow down to catch the wave. And it's like the messages are here, and we just got to really take the time to listen and to integrate it, right? And so that's what came through. And like immediately, like after having that session with her, he was actually able to eat like thoroughly, where he didn't feel like he didn't throw up or anything after he was eating. So he like had once you really develop that relationship with the subconscious, it's so powerful because when you start acting on that guidance, which is what we talk about so much with the dream work, and not just like taking it in as information, like, oh, that's cool, or I want to just do this, like I want to fly, I want to do this. When you really are present with what's coming through with you and then you act on it, like you're going to experience like profound change, right? This is the real shadow work. This is like the real quote unquote work.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's like it's really important to like take the time and slow down and listen to that.
It is vitally important. I tell this story often, at least as often as I can, because it really shows how you can, like, how much you can change once you start diving into the shadow. I remember, we all go through so many traumas in our lives, and we have been, as a society, taught to keep the focus outside of ourselves and not so much inside of ourselves. Pick yourself up by the bootstraps and move on. But life
Get
doesn't
over it, yeah, get
actually
over yourself.
work that way. And like, I remember I was miserable. I was probably 16, 17, 18 years old, miserable, and my bones hurt. I had
Mm-hmm.
knee problems. I had pre-arthritis pains in my shoulder blades, in my fingers. My fingers would stop working. I had headaches all the time. I had acid reflux up the wazoo. I I was falling asleep everywhere. Like, I felt 80 years old at 17, 18, 19 years old. As a teenager, I felt old. And the reality of the situation was I was taking on so much, and not just my own traumas and my own experiences, but I've also always had people come to me and put their stuff on me and vent and talk about their things. Like, I remember being like, 11, 12 years old, and like my grandfather being like, oh yeah, when I was like 8 years old, my janitor burned to death outside of our classroom window, and I'll never get the screams out of my head. And like, this was just something that people did. They just expressed what traumas they were going through on, and put it to me. And I've always been that way. I still am that way. I just know how to manage it and put my boundaries up and protect myself better now. But
Yeah, you're
that
not
being
carrying it,
said,
you're not taking it on like you were before.
yeah, yeah, now I can manage it. Now I know how to deal with it. But the thing that actually took me from where I'm like, I need to fake, because I told I can't move through life feeling this bad. Like, there's got to be a reason why,
Mm-hmm.
and there's got to be a way out.
Mm-hmm.
And I did intensives just teaching me what my brain, like what the traumas were, what the tools were that I needed, how to learn the tools, and
Mm-hmm.
how to use the tools. And it opened up, like, besides the fact that you have somebody who can help like hold your hand while you're moving through really difficult things that you probably didn't even remember you had happened to you, but
Mm-hmm.
it all kind of pushes that weight off of you, and you have room to take on new traumas and adjust in the ways you need, and your body starts feeling better when your mind starts to feel better, and all these things. And again, now I kind of know how to navigate things better. It's not
Mm-hmm.
perfect, but like, I don't feel like the weight of everything is crushing me to death. Literally, physically, my bones break, feeling like they're breaking.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
your shadow needs to be acknowledged. It needs to be acknowledged. It needs to be integrated. You have to be able to say, I need to heal from this, and then go ahead and do all of the steps that it takes to get to that point. It's
mhm.
vitally important.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. 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 Yep.
Sorry, I went a little
No,
ham.
no. I like that was perfect. I think that all of that needed to be said. And that's why I got into to dream work because I knew that like there was something I was missing and I needed to listen to the subconscious. I needed to listen to that voice, and especially through dreams. It was definitely time. So Mary's here in the chat. Mary says, "Hey, ladies."
Oh, hey,
Hey,
Mary.
Mary. You probably thought we started at 9 because I saw you came in pretty much like 10 minutes ago. It's like 10 after 9. So we are starting an hour early from now on. We're going to be starting at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So you're probably at the beginning of the conversation. So by the time you get to this part, hi, Mary. Thanks for being here. Thanks for saying hi in the chat. All right, so are you ready to share the oracle?
Yep.
I actually, when you were kind of at the tail end of your just talking about your dream and your reflections on it, I started shuffling. So I already have my card, my message for us, and I'm using the Herbal Astrology Oracle deck. I think I used this last time, and just gonna pin my video so you can see the card. So I have a few, there's probably like 3 or 4 cards that either my child or my cat have,
Oh,
tried
no.
to eat, basically. I think this is Sidori. But is this is Mukuna. Hopefully I'm saying that right. But the key word here, I laughed to myself because we were literally talking about journey, and that is a key word. We also have Mercury and Uranus as far as the astrology on this card. And this is about enlightenment, divine enlightenment, realization, illumination. Mercury is, represents the rational, logical mind. In an esoteric astrology, Uranus is like the higher octave of Mercury. So it's um, that divine mind, divine intelligence. And as we know with Aquarius, Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius. So here we are. The universe is like, don't forget about that. After our discussion, what was it like last week? Yeah, or 2 weeks ago, our last live.
Yep.
I think this is really speaking to the mind and the activation within that. And that's something I've been feeling for um, the eclipse season, is that activation of the crown and third eye chakra. Just a lot of stimulation going on there. But for the additional key energies with this card, we have state of transition, leaving behind what is familiar, moving toward the unknown, connection to a higher mind, and trusting higher consciousness. So the guidance here says, you may be in a state of transition, about to leave familiar territory and initiate a new journey. Something in your gut is telling you it's time for a shift, to enter a new physical space and or field of awareness. The powers of both Mercury and Uranus oftentimes appear as spontaneous opportunities out of the blue. This is the power of the higher mind magnetizing opportunities that match your spirit's frequency. Don't resist the journey in the name of comfort. The overwhelming rush of emotions that rise before big opportunities is signaling opportunities for growth. While the waters might seem turbulent at times, the sea of opportunities ahead will be tranquil. Let go of whatever is holding you back, be it from the past or present, and hold your gaze steadily into your future self. Wow. That was
Wow.
directly for me too, personally. Like this whole thing just lit me up. Like I'm feeling the electricity that's in this car.
Yes. As soon as I saw the imagery too, it did something. Like there was just something so profound
Yeah.
that came through. It is a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful card, despite bite at the bottom.
Right. Damn you, child.
Getting our own. I feel like personally, we're all kind of embarking on a new transition, on a new journey.
Mhm.
Everybody I've talked to so far has been, really expressing that direction. They're on the precipice of something new. Not
Yeah.
only that, but as a collective, we're on the precipice of something new.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like that card was such a beautiful ode to where we're at. And
I love it.
I just, wow. And journey through the Innerverse.
Right?
This is what we
Duh.
are. We are here
Journey.
to journey through the innerverse, through ourselves, our minds, our subconscious, our psyche, our bodies, our existence. So,
Perfect.
so I got cactus. And this is from, let me see. Oh, there we go.
Let me yeah, I'm gonna pin your video too.
So
Okay.
this is from the Obsidian Oracle deck, the Black Edition, written by Trish Sullivan. And I think there's a, where's the, oh, and the art is done by Megan Buceri, Buceri, Buccere. And I'm sorry if I got that wrong in pronunciation. I do my best, as we all do. So, cactus key points are boundary, Latin word taken from ancient Greek to describe a spiny plant whose identity was uncertain. These spiky plants do not look particularly welcoming, but can be stunning when it's their time to bloom. They grow and thrive in areas where many other plants could not hope to survive.
Yeah.
You don't always need to be there for other people. There's nothing wrong with putting yourself and your own needs first. Don't let yourself sink into feelings of resentment, of offense, when you're letting other people take what you freely give with no return. Instead, make sure you set clear boundaries you're comfortable with, learning how freeing it can be to say no, politely, of course. So essentially, put up your boundaries,
Wow. Yeah.
put up your boundaries. And I feel like this is something that a lot of people I know right now are working on. And we
Definitely.
really like all need to recognize that that is incredibly important for our mental, emotional, physical, spiritual well-being. I mean, and even putting up the boundaries for yourself and not speaking them out loud like to someone else, you know, like if you feel like you need to rest, don't sit there. Allowing yourself to rest without guilt is a
Yeah.
putting up a boundary for yourself. It's protecting yourself. You know, if you don't have the energy to be around certain people or around people at all, don't feel guilty, don't feel ashamed, don't feel a type of way. Allow yourself to have what you need right now.
Yeah.
This is really important, especially with where we're moving right now, the way we're moving right now. I think protection and boundaries and resilience is those are all keywords that we really need to put in our pocket and hold dearly.
Yeah. I think that both of these messages are pretty optimistic. I think it's like, with the cactus card, I like when it spoke to, things going on in your environment or within your circumstances that can be a little bit uncomfortable or prickly. It's like,
Yeah,
take care of yourself. Take care of yourself by putting up these boundaries. Like you're going to be good, especially if you take the extra step of protecting yourself. And, you don't have to say yes to everything. And that's something that I'm personally learning myself. Like, I have all this energy, but that doesn't mean I have to like do this, and this and that. Like I need to really like hone in my focus and, protect my energy in that way. So it can look different for many of like, it'll come forth in different ways.
absolutely. It allows you to recharge your batteries. You know, taking care of yourself, putting up your boundaries, and protecting yourself, that's recharging your batteries. It's refilling your cup. So when it's time, you have the ability to pour for others. But right now, you have to pour for yourself.
Yeah. Beautiful. I'm like writing the notes, protect your energy, blessings out of you. I love it. So I am looking forward to this lunar cycle based on these oracles. Um, and we will, of course, touch bases. So next week we're gonna have a fellow dream expert from Dreamigos. Sweet Georgia Pam is going to be joining us. Again, that's going to be at 8 p.m. And then I believe after that, let's see. Yeah. And then the week after that, we're going to move on to our second major arcana,
Woo!
Arcana card. I don't know why I always struggle with that. Arcana card, and that's going to be Magician and Dreams. So that's going to be exciting. So definitely join us the next coming weeks, every week, but definitely show Pam some love. I'm really excited to learn of how she got into dream work. And we know a bit of her perspective. So I'm excited that we can share um, her her expertise, and she's such a good teacher. Like you can tell she has a
Oh
teaching
my
back,
God, yes.
so she breaks it all down so nicely. So I'm really excited for you all to see her shine, her creative process with the dream space. So any last, I don't know if you're talking right now, Alexis, you're frozen, so I'll give it a minute
She's a
here.
beauty.
Okay.
Am I still frozen? Am I good?
You just
Am
came
I good?
back, so
Can
say
you hear me?
again whatever you just said about Pam.
I just said she's amazing. You're not going to want to miss this.
Perfect. Okay, anything else? Any last words you want to add tonight?
Protect yourself, guys. Like,
Yes.
really hone in on doing what's best for you. You know, charge yourself up and put up your boundaries and begin these new journeys with, water in your cup. You're doing
Yeah,
great.
we're doing amazing. All right, until next week, everyone. Sweet dreams.
Sweet dreams.